Hello everybody, this video is for sales leaders. Sometimes I'm asked, hey, what's it take to build a world-class selling organization? What separates the world-class selling organization from the average selling organization to the, Bush League sales organization, so to speak? And I've studied this for about a decade now, and I think it usually comes down to about 10 or so components. And so smart sales leaders delve down into each of these 10 areas and make sure that they're hitting on all cylinders in those 10 areas and that holistically those areas are reinforcing each other. So it starts with what's the sales philosophy or sales strategy of the leadership in the organization. Some companies put too much focus and emphasis on product development or operations or manufacturing. They're not a sales-driven company. And remember, sales is really the tip of the spear of the organization. It's the engine that drives the car. So world-class companies and world-class selling organizations make sure the leadership has a very positive and positive view of the sales function in their organization. So that's the start. Second is the sales culture. Is the sales leadership committed to developing a healthy team, a lot of trust, the ability to resolve conflict, the ability to recognize and reward and encourage each other to cross the finish line with your head held high and become a winner? So it's creating that kind of culture. Next is sales strategy. Coming off of philosophy and culture is strategy. What sandbox are we going to play in? What markets are we going to play in? What products and services are we going to come out? How are we going to approach the market? Are we going to be the low-priced competitor? Are we going to sell value? Are we going to be differentiated? What are all the factors that comprise our sales strategy? What's our playbook as an organization? And so this is a critically important piece because you can have a great sales organization focusing in the wrong area and results are compromised. Next, we move on to sales process. Have you really identified all the recommended practices, behaviors, skills, all the components from inception to popping the champagne at the end of the sale, every single behavior that's necessary for you to exceed your quota and perform at the highest levels? And then have you codified that behavior? Have you put it into a process? Edward Deming said it best. He says, if you can't define what you're doing as a process, you probably don't know what you're doing. So you've got to have some sort of sales process in place. Next has to be hiring. How good are you at hiring talent into your organization? And the key there is you've got to hire people where their past performance demonstrated the very behaviors you need in your sales process. So hiring's critically important. Next is sales leadership. Have you promoted people from the sales ranks and then never trained them to become great leaders, great coaches, and great motivators? These first-line managers are critical in your organization for success. You must invest in sales leadership or your results will be compromised. Next is compensation. Do you have a compensation plan that rewards the behaviors you want to see? I'm frustrated many times coming into companies who want to change the culture, change the behaviors, get their salespeople to perform at a higher level, but the compensation is incentivizing them to do just the opposite. So you've got to make sure your compensation plan's in alignment. Then you have to look at your scorecard. What kind of metrics have you put in place for the entire sales organization and specifically for the sales process? If you don't measure how you're doing today, it's very difficult to get better if you don't know where you are. So having those metrics in place is critically important. And lastly, another key piece I've seen is non-monetary reward and recognition. While salespeople and sales professionals are hard driven for money, they want more. They want to be recognized. They want to be rewarded. They want to be encouraged so that they feel part of the team, so that they emotionally commit to the organization. These are all the factors, all the elements that make up a world-class selling organization. If you're a sales leader out there or a CEO, I encourage you to delve down in each of those areas, find out where the gaps are, shore them up so you can bounce into the next year and the next year beyond that with sustainable excellence, a perpetual advantage. Thank you very much. God bless you. Talk to you soon.